All right, you guys, a lot of you have been asking me, what do I do? I'm graduating beauty school and now what? So let's talk about that. You guys, if you are just graduating beauty school, congratulations. That is an amazing, amazing accomplishment. That is not an easy thing to do. I think a lot of people think, oh, you just went to hair school. Baloney. It's a lot of hard work. You learned about ridiculous diseases, how they spread, a lot of things about skin and hair and bones that you probably never thought you would need to know. And a lot of other things that you probably don't even really understand yet, but you know them, or you've talked about them. So you're feeling probably overwhelmed, excited. I was terrified. I was like, oh, I have to get a real job now. Like a real job. Like, oh. I still remember being so scared about having a real job and like being done with school. What do? I was scared. I like wanted to stay in school, but they kick you out at a certain point once you graduate and you have to move on. So dive in. That is my best advice. Go for it. I went straight to booth rent. I was totally daring and crazy, but that is not the right way for everyone. You need to definitely go where you're comfortable, but still uncomfortable. If you're totally comfortable, then you probably aren't growing much. So make sure you're a little bit uncomfortable, or a lot if you're daring. But you need to definitely, maybe we should even talk about how to build in clientele, because I think that's the biggest scare that I had when I left hair school was, well, if I did booth rent, how would I build a clientele? Because like it just doesn't happen like that. And I think a lot of people expect that to happen or have unrealistic expectations thinking, oh, or they're too hard on themselves. There's a couple different ways you can go on this. If you're too hard on yourself, you're thinking, well, I'm not good yet. I can't do booth rent. If you totally feel uncomfortable at that point, then you could take somewhere to just get some more experience where you start to feel comfortable. But don't get too comfortable, because if you stay there for a way long time, then you are completely losing touch with that goal that you had of maybe doing booth rent on your own, if you have that goal. Some people are totally fine being a commission salon their entire career, and they make good money doing it. So just try to envision what you want in the next 5 to 10 years. Where do you want to be in 5 to 10 years? If you want to be at home in your salon, then you would need to probably be in a booth rent salon so that you could take some of your clientele. If you wanted to stay in a place, like stay in the industry and like the coolest, most hip salon all the time, those are probably commission salons, and that's okay with you, then you go for it and it's fine. But for me, I'm going to focus more on the way that I did it, because that's what I know more about. Makes sense, right? So I'm going to talk to you about building a clientele, because I went booth rent and just had to figure it out myself. So let me tell you some of the things I did to build my clientele quickly. I went from part-time booth rent, and 2 months later I was full-time booth rent because I felt confident. And that is another option you can look into. There are some salons that will let you come on as commission first, and as soon as you feel comfortable, they'll let you switch over to booth rent. Or there's some salons that will let you go part-time and you can keep the job that you had during college or get another job to help supplement and pay your rent while you're part-time at the salon building your clientele. Well, that's what I did. So I was working at a restaurant, Sizzler, as a waitress, and I would work during the evening, and then all day I was at the salon, and I did, I think, 3 days a week. So part-time was like 3 days a week and full-time was 6 days a week. And the first month I did well. Like I made enough to pay my booth rent and have a little bit more on the side too. So I was like, that's good. So when I was first starting, I was working, I felt like I was working all the time, because I was like, okay, I'm going to the salon, and you sit there. If you're doing booth rent and you're trying to build a clientele, you sit there all day long. Really, all day long. And it's possible that you don't do a single haircut all day long, but you sit there. Bring word puzzles, bring crocheting, bring a book, play on your phone. I don't care what you do. Clean the salon, help somebody else, watch the other stylists, get some ideas from them, watch YouTube videos, watch my channel. Whatever you do, fill up your time, sit in there. People will walk in. You can even run little ads. You can do we would set out an A-frame every once in a while saying like special $5 off a haircut or something, which would bring people in off the street. But let me just tell you this. The times that were the busiest were when the men were getting off of work around 5 o'clock. Boom, the salon was full, walk-ins coming in the door, and that's usually when everybody else that was sitting around waiting for walk-ins was fed up with it, and they're like, screw it, I'm gonna go home and make dinner. So I would sit in there and wait for the rush for when the men were driving past the salon on their way home. They'd look over, see the sign lit up, open, and think, oh yeah, I need a haircut. They'd stop in, and I was the one that was available, so I did the haircuts. That's the thing. You need to get someone in your chair, obviously. If you're never getting anyone in your chair, then you're going to have a problem. But if you can just get someone to sit down in your chair, you have the chance to keep that person as your client forever. And that's what you need to look at it as. They could be your friend, your client forever if you treat them right. You treat them like they are the most important person on the planet. Seriously. If you have to do an extra long massage when you're washing their hair, give them a little bonus here, little product sample to take home there. Whatever you need to do, make sure that they're happy. Make sure you're being friendly, reading their reactions back to you. If they're like, I've had a couple guys sit down and they're not interested in anything but a haircut. Like, just, I'm gonna sit down, do not talk and cut my hair. And I can kind of read that and get it, and I'll just do the haircut as fast as I can. And then you know what? They come back the next time and they're like, I want her. I didn't have to sit there and talk. I got the haircut done fast and it was good. So, I mean, you just have to kind of try to read people, and then there's the other people that are really want some fun conversation, and they'll talk to you and it'll be fun. But don't worry if someone's sitting in your chair and they're just like, you're not feeling it. They're not talking. It's not the end of the world. Do your best work as fast as you can do it. They will return, I promise. Also, before I let any of my clients leave, I made sure I gave them my business card, let them know that that was my cell phone number and I was there anytime they needed to call and make an appointment. And on top of that, most importantly, I would explain to them my referral program. Now, I think this really helped me out a ton when I was first starting. I did a program where if you referred a friend or family member, whoever, to come in and get their hair done, if you referred 3 people, you got a free haircut your next time you came in. If you had 5 people come in, you got a cut and a color next time you came in. Now, you do not realize how fast you will have people sitting in your chair, because if you do a brother and he wants, oh, I want a free haircut next time, but he has 5 brothers at home, well, guess what? Probably he can convince all of them to come to the haircut that he liked and got a good haircut from, to make it so he gets a free haircut next time. It worked like a charm, you guys. I had people coming in and they'd sit down and say, oh, blah, blah sent me. And I'd make sure to take a note down, and they were keeping track too. And it was awesome because they, like, I gave away a few haircuts and a free cut and color every once in a while, but it was totally worth it to build my clientele really quick, you guys. So I would definitely suggest to try that. You can also run coupons, ads in local newspaper calendars, whatever local advertising. You want to make sure that the local advertising is something that's like in your city, because that was the most effective. And another thing I want you to remember, you do not have to be the most amazing hairstylist in the entire planet to have someone return. People are going to return sometimes if they got a decent haircut, but they really liked you and they felt like you were listening to them. Sometimes people have some pretty dramatic sob stories to tell you, and if you're really listening to them and sympathizing with them and understanding them, and listening meaning like if they say, I pull really gold, you're actually formulating a little bit stronger on the developer or whatever, or ashy, to make sure that that doesn't happen this time. Make sure you're doing things to listen to your client, and they will remember. You don't have to be the best colorist. You don't have to be the best stylist. You don't have to be the best barber in the world. You just need to be decent. As long as you don't completely destroy it, they will be happy and they could return. Sometimes you can even make a big mistake and try to fix it your best, and they'll still return. I was even like a couple times when I was starting out, I was like, what, that person came back? But it's because they thought, you know what, I could tell that you were trying really hard and that you could learn from your mistakes. So people are forgiving. They're not just like, oh, she sucks, I'm never going there again. Sometimes, but not always. A lot of the times people will return just because they liked you and they thought that you were really nice. So remember that if you don't feel 100% confident in your skills right now, just be as pleasant and sweet and nice and thoughtful of their needs as you possibly can. And they will probably most likely come back and be very loyal clients. And you also need to make sure that you're explaining to them, the more that they come back, the more you will understand their hair, the more you'll know exactly how their cowlicks work. And this is so true. Clients need to understand that the very first time you do their hair, it could turn out good or great, but the next time they come in, it should be even better because you know what you're working with. You know how the hair reacts to certain chemicals. You know how this side flips out, this side goes this way, or this side goes under, this side flips out. You know the little things when you're styling to look for that person's hair. And that is one of the things I really loved about getting to know my clientele is you really do start to learn them and get to know them really well and their hair. And they appreciate that too. And they'll get to the point where they do not want to go anywhere else because they want to go where they know they're going to be safe and they're in good hands. And so just remember that you don't have to be perfect right off the bat. Do your best. Always try to do your best and learn from your mistakes and you'll be fine. I hope that this advice is what you needed to hear, you guys, because it can be very scary, but building a clientele, it doesn't have to be as scary as it is. Like a lot of the time, things in our mind are way scarier than they are in real life. Jump in and go for it. Don't try to overthink things. Like I've noticed in my life a lot of the times, if I'm overthinking it, and then when I'm actually in the moment doing it, I'm like, this is not that scary. But in my mind, it was the scariest thing ever. So just remember, things are scarier up here than they are in real life. So just go for it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys take this and use it, and I hope you guys have tons of success in building your clienteles. And don't be afraid of being fresh out of school. And I've given advice before about not being afraid to just be like, yeah, I'm new, but I'm still awesome. Like, don't be afraid to be confident. Okay, you guys, you see the little thumbs up button down there? There's one that's like this and one that's like this. There's two of them. You better be hitting this one because that's the nice button. So hit the nice button if you want more videos like this. And make sure to comment below and let me know what you think. Let me know how you guys built your clienteles. I'd love to hear other people's advice on this, and hopefully people will read the comments and get some more ideas, some better ideas maybe even. So please comment below if you have some great tips for building a clientele. Make sure you're following me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you guys next time.